watching Eye on Ocean County. I'm Christina Seco. My guest this half hour currently is in his 32nd year at WOBM, and he serves as the Vice President of Quality Control for both the AM and FM stations, in addition to being the sports director of the Shore Sports Network. And come football and basketball seasons, you will recognize Kevin Williams' voice as a radio broadcaster during the games. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for the opportunity to sit and chat in a comfortable chair.
There you go. So you wear many hats at WOBM. Let's start with your title. You are the Vice President of Quality Control for both the FM and AM. What does that mean?
When the garbage has to be taken out, I'm the one they call. Literally, I guess it means it was a promotion a while ago from our president as the guy who kind of babysits the building. If people have issues of the day, they always sort of come to me, and I'm sort of the guy that makes most of the decisions, in addition to all the other stuff I do. So literally, I've had questions like, I think there's a bird chirping in the studio, can you get it out? To things like, we've run out of toilet paper. So you know what? I do it all. So I don't know. It's a strange title. And as you said, I wear many hats. That's just one of them.
So you're the go-to guy for just about anything.
Really, that's what it comes down to. And if I don't know the answer, I'm the one that has to find the answer.
So good luck with that, right? And you're climbing the tree getting the bird.
No question.
So let's talk a little bit about the Shore Sports Network for WOBM AM. It's on 1160 and 1310. So tell us about what you do there.
You know, it's kind of a strange term because it's not a particular station. It's more the program, the sports programming we do and where it may fall. The Shore Sports Network is what we use as the umbrella for all the sports programming we do at Millennium Radio in the Shore area. And it could be anything from Lakewood BlueClaws baseball to high school football in the fall. Some of the programming airs strictly on the 2 AM stations, 1160 and 1310. And then when we do things like high school football, that actually airs on those 2 stations, plus our classic rock station, 105.7 The Hawk. So the Shore Sports Network is the term it all falls under. It's kind of like ESPN, and you don't know which ESPN channel something is on. We do it all under the Shore Sports Network, and we use different stations to facilitate that programming.
Okay, so we can find you all over the dial is what you're saying.
Yeah, and which is why we kind of use, when it comes to programming standpoint, we always use our website, shoresportsnetwork.com, because at least by going on there, you can usually find out where something is airing.
Okay, now you mentioned 105.7 The Hawk, so you can be found there as well, and the shoresportsnetwork.com, which you had mentioned. So let's talk a little bit what you do at The Hawk.
Well, The Hawk is our classic rock station, and I'm not necessarily a classic rock guy, but some of the programming airs there. I also do a sports report every day on that station, and it's just the outlook we use. We're a big believer in local sports. That's really the most important thing to us. It's sort of a dying breed. Not that many places do it like we have, certainly for over 3 decades. And we were always doing our games on the AM stations, and still do, but we'd get complaints from some people that they couldn't get it in certain areas. So a couple of years ago, because high school football is really kind of our biggest product when it comes to the local sports, we put it on The Hawk. We've gotten great results, great response from listeners. We also do a Thursday night football show that airs on that station as well. And it sort of opened us up to a whole new demographic that really didn't know about the stuff we do.
Okay, so you do a little bit of everything. You mentioned, you know, the classic rock, you have the sports, but it sounds like sports really is your passion. Sports
is my passion for sure. When I was hired at WOBM in 1979, that's a long time ago, when I was hired, I was actually the first full-time sports director they ever had. And it's interesting, the radio station itself, the original station, which is 92.7 FM, which was Ocean County's first radio station, was very much built on local sports. It was an important thing for them in the early going of the station. They used to do Toms River football when there was only one Toms River, then Brick High School football and Lakewood basketball. And for years, that sort of became a little bit dormant. They hired me in 1979, and really what I did was I did morning sports reports. I was one of the guys as part of the morning show that would do the sports reports, and it became very, very popular, and it allowed me to expand into other things. But when I started in 1979, that's what I was. I was just the sports guy.
You were the sports guy. I like how that sounds. The sports guy. But now let's talk about, you mentioned the local sports. What do you like about doing local sports? Like being the local guy doing local sports?
You know, you have to have a passion for it. You can't hide it. And when I started, the interesting was the age difference between me and the athletes I was covering was not that great. I mean, I was 23, 24. They were 16, 17, and 18. I was kind of one of the guys. Now I'm their father almost. In some cases, maybe their grandfather. But I still love it. I still have a passion for it. Even though all the players have changed, most of the people I dealt with, even coaches, there's not too many that when I started is still coaching. I always kid about Ken Frank, the baseball coach at Toms River South, and he talks about me covering their games when I first started. I take like a beach chair and go down and always try and sit in the sun while I was covering the baseball games. But I still have a passion for it. I love the fact that you root for the uniform because the uniform of the school always never changes. If it's Toms River South or Central Regional or Manchester, those things don't change, but the players do, and they come and go. And, in my case, I'm covering kids whose fathers remember me. And I run into that all the time. Dad will say, hey, you mentioned my son's name the other day. And I remember mentioning him like in the early 80s. So I love it. I really do. I've never lost an interest in it. And I'm thrilled the fact that the company still gives me a pedestal to do these things.
You're really getting in there with the families. I want to ask you, what is your role with the Lakewood BlueClaws? I mean, we're talking about the local sports here.
Lakewood BlueClaws are important to our company. We have a great relationship with them. And for pretty much their entire time, and they're in their 11th season, we have been the flagship radio station for their games. So on 1160 and 1310 AM, we broadcast all 140 Lakewood BlueClaws games. Now, I don't do the games myself. They have their own guys who work for the club, Greg Giambarisi, who's their play-by-play broadcaster and back for his third year. But I'm the guy that has to coordinate everything. I have to make sure all the sponsors are included. I have to make sure the games get on the air. So as part of what I do, and even though the BlueClaws are not something we directly broadcast, they do the games, we carry them, and it all sort of falls under my domain. Same things with like Monmouth University football and Seton Hall basketball, which we carry, but we don't do ourselves. They do the broadcast. We just provide the outlet, but somebody has to make sure everything gets taken care of, and I happen to be the guy.
So what is it like coordinating those games and actually, being the go-to guy again?
Well, there's a lot of logistics involved. We're taping the show today, but interestingly enough, the day we're doing this, the BlueClaws had an 11 o'clock a.m. game, and it was in a rain delay to start. Well, that's not something we can really count on. We expect them to go on at 11, and all of a sudden they're not ready at 11. So I just have to make sure that things like that don't slip through the cracks. Everyone needs to know if there's a question with the BlueClaws, who do you go to? And I just happen to be the person. But it's a great relationship we have with them since they started here 11 years ago. We're thrilled to do it. The broadcasting is just part of what we do with them, and they're a great partner.
Yeah, we actually have some photos of the Gridiron Classic, which is from some of the high school football events, which we'll get on the screen for you. And what is it like? You were a 9-time New Jersey Sportscaster of the Year. Your efforts are paying off. We do have a picture of one of the football games here. This is the Gridiron Classic. So we have a photo there. But I mean, what is it? I mean, congratulations to you for having those. A 9-time New Jersey Sportscaster of the Year. That's exciting. That's exciting for you. But what is it, do you have a favorite? I mean, you do so many different things. Monmouth, you have Seton Hall Pirates. I mean, is it?
High school football to me has always been my favorite. I do something about a Friday night or a Saturday afternoon in the fall. You start out in September and it's warm and hot, and you end up in December and it's cold. And there's something about that whole thing that I love. I love the feel of going to a football game on a Friday night. And even though we might not be doing a game, it might be a 7 o'clock broadcast, I'm usually there at 5 o'clock. I still like going into the locker room, talking to the coaches, watching the players warm up. It's just kind of my thing. I've always loved it, and I've never lost a passion really for that more than anything else.
All right, we have to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll have more with Kevin Williams, so stay with us.